Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in for our last Oak AMA session for this year. Um, Sorry about that. Um, yeah, we'll be having a very interesting conversation on building resilience in business and personal finance. And we've got two interesting guests to help speak to the matter. But before then, just going to again run us through what to expect from the evening, as well as just housekeeping rules as well to help things go smoothly. On a We'll start with again welcome and AMA introductions. We'll talk a little bit about HoaQ for those who perhaps this is your first time actually joining a meeting like this. We'll jump into the conversation with Ibrahim and Damilola. I'll hand over to my colleague Folake to just run us through some important HoaQ updates, and we'll close for the evening. Um, all right, so let's get into it. Like, what is HoaQ? I think I've said this so many times. Like, it's always if you wake me up from my sleep now, I should be able to say it. But yeah, we're a community. It's all about people, creators, operators, founders, entrepreneurs, looking to just again build and scale businesses in Africa and the diaspora as well. And so we're thinking about how can we support founders, of course, with capital, community, with content, and so all get to how we can actually build economic infrastructure for Africa and Africans, regardless of where they are. So this evening, I want to learn more. Please just go. We have more FAQs and stuff on our website, hoaq.co. And if you have any more questions as well, feel free to always reach out to me or the team at hello@hoaq.co. We've got two speakers this evening who will be joining us in conversation. First of all, we've got Ibrahim Adepoju. He's the co-founder and CEO of Times. He's also a trained software engineer and a tech entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for joining us this evening. We also have our second speaker, Damilola Olatunbosun from Money Africa, a very well-known brand when it comes to financial literacy, financial education, financial knowledge. Yeah, she's a financial officer and a tax enthusiast. Now, I know tax is not something that everybody should be enthusiastic about, so it's always good to find a find someone who's actually again interested in taxes, and hopefully she can also give us some pointers as to how we can turn things around on our sentiments when it comes to taxes. So we'll jump into the Q&A now for the next couple of minutes. Please, if you have any questions, you can use the raise hand feature. We'll get to your question segment at the tail end of the conversation. Please just feel free to use the raise hand feature. You can also engage as well in the chat. So you can use the chat and engage with us as well. If you have comments, if you agree with what we're saying, yeah, you can do that as well. And of course, you have the emojis as well. So celebrate somebody if they say something that you agree with. Like you could also clap for them as well. You could again say hooray. Let's make it fun and interesting for everyone. I know I mentioned this is our last HoaQ AMA for this year, but please, we do have the AGM to close out the year next month. That's Wednesday, December 18th. Am I correct? 18th? Is it 18th? Just look at the calendar quickly here. But yeah, it's Wednesday, December 18th. Yes. So please, we'll be sure to reach out with just more information on that as well. But this is our last content series. And we believe this is quite important. I mean, why we do the AMs are quite important because again, it's for one, enablement is one of the big tenets for HoaQ. Yes, we bring deals every month or every quarter for people to actually subscribe to. We actually have two deals right now. One Zimi, which is a YC startup looking at again cross-border logistics. And we'll be closing the year with a borderless raise as well. So that is important, and we know again capital and again is quite important. But beyond that, again, enablement from just knowledge, just again helping add value to how we think about money, which is where we what we invest in investing in the first place. Again, how do you think about finances? How do you build resilience into personal and business finances? Is quite key, because again, if that is shaky, then everything will suffer as well. So without let's round up the year with just again tools, knowledge from experts who are building are quite vast in that space. So please do engage in the conversation, and I hope you find this useful as well. Yes, I agree with the comments as well. Someone said we had lots of insightful, so let's not forget them. And they are all available on YouTube, by the way. So if you missed any of our HoaQ AMAs, they're all there. We explored ranges of topics from market to fundraising to just again thinking about support, talent, and also it's all there. We've got fantastic speakers, and we have them here again tonight. Thanks again, Ibrahim and Damilola, for joining us. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great from here. Sure, you're doing good
Yeah.
too.
Hi, Damilola. How are you? Oh, you're mute.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm
How are you
good.
doing? So maybe that's an icebreaker question. Like, what makes you why are you enthusiastic about taxes? Is it that you found a way to game the system and make taxes work for you, or like what's so exciting about taxes? And this is a very side question before we jump
Okay,
into
so
it.
to answer that, I'm going to speak from an employee perspective. So most of the time, a lot of employee or even business owners tend to feel that government are just out to just rob them their money, take their money from them. They are not actually helping them with the businesses. But in real sense, in a working economy, if you pay your taxes, you are definitely going to reap the benefits. And there are lots of taxes, and all I just tell what I feel with regards to taxes, all you just need to do is to ensure that you keep your books. If you keep your books, you can clearly defend yourself when it comes to paying taxes. No
Mm,
tax official will tell you, oh, this is the ridiculous amount of taxes that you're supposed to pay. So, but it is, I think the main reason why a lot of people are scared of paying taxes is because they don't keep their books. So if a tax official should reach out to them and say you're supposed to pay a certain amount in taxes, they're
mm,
scared. You're like, why are you asking me to pay this amount?
right.
I don't even think I'm making this amount of money and you're asking me to pay. But if you're able to keep your books, right, and then they call you for audit or investigation, you can easily present your books to them and tell them, okay, these are my revenues, these are my cost of sales, these are my expenses. Based on the law, these are the taxes I'm supposed to pay. So like
Right.
in Nigeria, currently, if your turnover is less than 100 million, you're exempted from paying taxes. But not business owners are aware of this. If
Mm,
you're not all business not all business owners are aware of this. So if your turnover is less than 25 million naira, you're exempted from paying taxes. If your business turnover is, let's say, 100 million naira and above, that is when you're not expected to pay 30%. So, but the general knowledge, everybody just feel that, oh, we are expected to pay just 30%, but that is not the
mm,
case. So it just boils down to you just keep your books, know what is expected of you, and if you can't really do this, you can just hire an expert. There are a lot of
right.
tax consultants that you can actually reach out to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel if this was like a basketball game, you just like laid up the ball for Ibrahim to dunk into the net. So, I saw him smiling like when I think about like, yeah, keep your books and all, and he's like, yeah, thanks for the ad. So, Ibrahim, like, you want to just like talk a little bit about like what you do and how can it really help people do what Damilola just talked about.
Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, so what I do, I'm more of a builder, and I'm working with professionals like Damilola to ensure that we build a very solid solution of a global standard to help keeping this book very right and appropriate. So, and I've been doing this for like 2 years. And how do I get involved in this was because I feel like I've been saved by accountants, and as a business owner, having a very close relationship with accountants, it's really saved me when things are tough, and how to get yourself out of tough scenarios. And if you need to pivot, if you need to make some adjustment and stuff. And I see that this is something that needs to be very big out there. And sometimes we might not need to die, we just need to reincarnate and survive again. So I see that this managing your finances efficiently, and also having an accountant, a CFO as your close friend, as a founder, is very, very important. Tax aside, survival of the business aside, a lot of other things. So these I just get myself into this, and I'm so passionate about navigating around this with other founders and entrepreneurs out there.
Awesome. I mean, a big myth though that will come when people are hearing what you guys are like, now person will get money go hire accountants now. So how do we dispel this myth? And for those who didn't understand what I just said, like you have to have money to pay an accountant. Like it's not cheap. Like it's always like, I'd rather go and do my spreadsheet myself. So how can you dispel this myth around like again cost versus value? Maybe just speaking from experience, Ibrahim, let's start from you. Just how do you dispel a myth for someone that says, well, I hear you, it's all well and good, but I don't have money to be spending on these things. I'd rather figure it out myself. Just any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this was one of the amazing opportunity that we jumped on at times. And one thing I've seen a lot is that nobody really have time for an accountant, especially with founders at very early stage. We're more concerned about just building the product. And sometimes even when you want to get a financial projection for fundraising, you just quickly hire someone to just cook something up for you and just get it across, and you won't even be keeping track of it. And one thing we try to do at times is to look at leverage on the current trend of generative AI. So if we provide an accounting, we see that the biggest problem in accounting system is that many funders cannot really sit down and look at it and relate with it very well because it's not speaking my language. And with the age of natural language, it means if I give you a financial statement, I can allow you to talk to that financial statement and ask questions in layman. And these are the way we're trying to navigate the means of, okay, if you cannot hire an accountant, I know you have your bank statement. If every transaction of your business is going to your bank statement and you're keeping a good narration, I will give you a system that will make it possible for you to just upload the statement, and I will use my AI to deduce the right account ledger where all these things are meant to go. And if you need to get insight or export statement, you can just come in and just say, hey guy, can I get my P&L for this month? Can I know what I'm missing and stuff? So these are the way we're seeing that, okay, if you're at the very early stage and you need something quite minimal, something you can easily navigate with, and maybe towards the end of the year or half of the year or quarterly, you can just bring an expert in and just let me check all I have, reconcile, and I get back into the game again. So so that's how the navigation has been.
So it really doesn't have to be complex. Like there's now technology, there's now things to make that less complex and quite straightforward. I like how you even mentioned that. Yes, you want to have tech do some things, but you want to still have a human come in, validate, reconcile, make sure things are actually top notch. I mean, that's very clear, and that makes sense from a business point of view. I wonder, Dami, from a personal finance point of view as well, like, again, this whole like tension between should I be paying for such a thing, or do I just figure it out myself? How do you make the case of like it's worth making that investment in just, again, having an accountant, engaging an accountant, even paying for softwares like Times to stay on top of your finances? How do you make that case here for someone who's making an argument that's like there's no money enough?
Okay, so just to start, I think the first thing I would say is that finance is the lifeblood of every business. So if you really want your business to grow, if you really want to thrive, you might have a good idea, good product, but if you don't take care of your finances, I think you would pack shop very soon. So we don't want that. So the truth is that, just like Ibrahim has said, it's not expensive. I think it's, when you compare to the mistake you make if you don't get an accountant or if you don't sort your finances when you also sort it out, I think when you do the trade-off, you realize that, okay, getting an accountant or even getting a software that can do this for you is way, way better than you just, okay, let me just make the mistake, or let me just stick around and wait for the government. And the funny thing is, when the government officials come knocking at your door for not keeping the proper record, for not putting your books together, the fee you're going to pay to them in terms of penalties and interest will be way more than what you will have paid to an accountant or even a software. So the ball is in your court.
Sounds
So
so
you
much
might
like
choose.
insurance. You pay a little bit of insurance, and when things go bad, you're covered.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have it, and then you have a big fee and a big big penalty on your hand. So I hear you. I hear you guys. So uh, that said, though, how does one get started? Because again, it's also still quite a minefield to navigate. So when do I start? How do I start? Who do I speak to? So Ibrahim, for you, speaking to like perhaps a business owner, a founder, a startup, when did they start thinking about this? Again, still not about their finances, and how do they even start? Like, where do they start from? Do they reach out to Times Info at times.com and say, help me? Or like, yeah, how does a founder really say, okay, it's now and this is how I'll go about it?
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Kay. I think the most important starting point is the point where you made the first transaction from a bank, and you know the intention of this transaction is for a business purpose, maybe to incorporate the business or to do something. The moment the first cash is coming out from somewhere and it's for the purpose of the business, that is when you need to start keeping the book of that business. And sometimes
Okay.
it might not be very stable, but one thing we do at times is like we do some things that are beyond the software. We have a lot of funders that come in and jump on a call with us from our website times.io, just schedule a call with us, and we get to, because one thing about accounting again is like it is very dynamic. So if you're running a fintech business, the way your book is meant to be structured is different from if you're running a SaaS. Some people are running B2B e-commerce where the money is not theirs immediately, it's for the vendor that they're selling for. So it's quite complex whereby you might not understand this, but you can just get a free, consultation, and okay, this is how you can do it, this is what you need to set up. And you can start with something basic, so that one advice we always give everybody is ensure that you set up a bank account for your business. Don't mix your personal account with your business account. That is the number one important thing. So at the very early stage, every transaction, even if you just have to get a micro, we have a lot of them in Nigeria now. We have money points. We have a lot of platforms you can quickly get a quick dedicated account for your business that you not mix with your personal finances, and you can just keep the record there. And when the time comes when you're very solid, just bring them into your accounting system. A structure that have been designed for you, or you can just do an auto connection. Then you just be dealing with what you're doing. But when the month end and you come to your software like Times and you see that, wow, I have everything in place, then you get back to the street again and you start hustling. So it's good to start from day one.
Awesome, awesome. So I really like how you put it. Like, there is a time, and it makes sense for the point that you mentioned. Money is moving for business purposes. You should be having fine. You should have a finance. If almost like, yeah, you have to have some kind of like finance ops at that point in time, because again, it's always harder to also like go back to then start to remember, oh, I spent this, I spent that, I know, and it quickly adds up. I think in my first startup, and I blogged about this, it's on Medium somewhere around the good, bad, and the good, bad, and ugly about my first startup experience. And I did mention in the bad, keeping the books was a big like issue, where we were just spending out of pocket. Oh, we need to buy bags for delivery. We can buy, yeah, take 2,000 naira. Oh, we need to fuel the bike. And you just, oh, Jide and Ade gave 5K last month, and this, but receipts, no receipt. Like it's like it's just so messy that you're like, you know what, let's just forget about this. And it doesn't really give you a true picture, because you spent money on the business and you're not accounting for cost and thinking revenue is all you've made, and then when it comes to scaling, then it becomes a problem. So definitely keeping the books. Once money starts to move for your business, you should be looking at that. I like what you said around, again, putting a difference between church and state. Your personal finances and your business finances should be very different. Of course, you can invest your money from personal into business, but it should be seen as an input, and a record should be made clearly for that. If it's a loan you're taking from personal to business and paying back, and the likes as well. So that's really clear. Damilola, anything to add from you? Like, again, around just again, when is the right time, and how do you actually get started? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Ibrahim has said a lot about it, but what I'm just going to chip in is that even if the most important thing you just have to do is to have a dedicated account for your business and any venture you're venturing into, ensure that if you're bringing in money from your own personal money to your business, ensure you document it. Because I get to speak to a lot of people and they tell you that, oh, Dami, I'm making a lot of money, but I don't really know where the money is going to. And then you ask them, okay, let's do a 3-month analysis of your bank statement. And then you realize that most of their money goes into their business. And then you're like, okay, do you realize that most of your money? They're like, yeah, there's a date. Someone called me from the office and was like, they need to get something. And I just send money. And I'm like, okay, so that is where your money is going into. So the question the next question you need to ask yourself is that do you keep proper record? Because when you want to scale, when you want to get investors into your business, they will ask you this question. They'll ask you that, oh, what is your capital stack? What is it like? So you just have I tell people that if you feel that you are not AI friendly, you don't want to make use of tech, you can always rely on your paper and biro, at least in the meantime. Pending when you're able to scale, you can always rely on your paper and Bible, and then you just make sure you just document it. And just like you said, you mentioned something about your narration. It is very, very, very important. I tell people that the main reason why they put narration, most banks put narration and even make it very compulsory that if you don't enter a narration, you won't be able to send money. It's because of it's very, very important. So you should actually take advantage of it when you're sending money or you're paying for something using your app. Try as much as possible to ensure that that is a form of documentation. So even if you don't want to go all out documenting it, when you properly put narration for your spending, even when you want to analyze your spending, you'll be able to say precisely that this is where I spend money on and this is how I spend my money. So record keeping is very, very essential.
True. Thanks so much for sharing that, guys. I mean, the topic for this again conversation is around building resilience in business and personal finance. And I mean, the reason why that is important is because again, we live in a market, whether it's on a global scale, macro or micro, where things are a bit shaky. Like the popular saying goes, yesterday's price is not today's price. So you have to find a way to again absorb any shock when it comes to your finances and all. I'm curious if you guys just very high level before we go deep into anything. On a very high level, are there things that you as a business or person have started to do differently to just make your finances more resilient? Maybe talk about Ibrahim. Building times, that's a business. You have a runway, you have to make money. Are there things you've decided to like switch up in how you're functioning, how you're operating, that just again allows you to have that stamina that in case anything shakes, you still, like I said, we don't die, we just what did he say? We just incarnate. So what things are you doing to actually again help bake in resilience into your financial operations here?
I think that's a very strong question, because number one, we're operating from a very tough economy, like a tea economy, very tough. And in this kind of economy, we have to survive, even though survival does not mean succeeding. But the first thing that we try to do is to first understand the dynamic of the country where we're operating, where we have our HQ. And we have to also look at our costs very well. So one thing is, like, generally accounting, we know you're expanding across your assets, your liability, revenue, equity, and expenses. So we have equity because we have partners like HoaQ, we have people that back. Also, we have to keep our eye on what are the equities we have in place. Then we also need to look at our expenses. What are the expenses we are incurring? We need to look at our asset also, and we have to picture all of these things together. And the first decision that we try to make is to look at how revenue can be very impactful, because the reality is that revenue is a big savior. If you're burning very high, revenue will keep impacting your own way, because if I burn 10K this month and revenue of 6K comes in, there's just 4K net burn that is out of my system. So the first thing is to first look at the revenue, because even though you have investment from any investors, everything will keep going down every time. So revenue comes now, and this revenue can be very complicated again. The next thing now is like, okay, what is the purchasing power of the people that we are selling our product to in Nigeria? What is how much can they pay? How convenient is it for them to pay? How many people need to pay this? At least at what point can we achieve this ratio where we can be extending our runway every time? So the next thing now is to look at the possibility of normally we are selling a software directly. So we are looking at flexibility of getting people from outside of our currency to also pay us and bring additional flow inside. So due to the instability of our current currency? Can we get access to foreign currency to also bring into the system? So we take a look at all of these decisions, and these are the things that we have to implement. We have to set up a lot of dynamic standard that our software can withstand. Maybe if you are in the US, the GAP standard. If you are in this part, is IFRS standard. Okay, is our solution flexible and can I easily sell? Can someone from US book a demo and be convinced that yes, I can use this, so that we can get additional flow? So one thing that I see that we did was to just find a way to grow our revenue and also dispose assets that we feel like we don't want to waste costs on, to just bring in the cash back into the system. So I feel like cash flow is very important. Just keep your eyes on your cash flow.
That's so good. Thank you. So I think that alone we can actually like write a book or or do a lecture, an extended lecture on. But I think at the core of it is pretty much knowing, like I think there's a high level of like just knowledge of your business, like know your business. I think you mentioned around like again your equity, your expenses, your revenue, like have a good understanding of what those things are. And I like how you said revenue is a lever to just stay alive. Every other thing will be depreciating in value or going down in value, but revenue is what is actually to again just keep the lights on. And so, but also be smart with revenue. Don't just say not all revenues are equal, if you want to put it at that. So how can we look at high impact revenue, FX, high paying customers, sticky customers, loyal customers, revenue that you can actually like you can plan for and not like it's here today and it's gone tomorrow. So I think that's really important. So thanks so much for sharing that. Damilola, I'm curious about you again. Like I said, whether from a business sphere or a personal sphere, like I mean, every pain a business is facing, a person is also feeling that pain as well when it comes to finances. So how have you actually like gone about building resilience where into your finances as a person? Yeah.
Okay, so as a person, from the personal perspectives, I'm going to be sincere with you. So as an individual, you also have your revenue, that is your salary. And apart from your salary, if you have your business, you pay yourself a salary too, which I advise. So Nigeria is an high inflationary environment, and when you go to the market today, the price of things is not the same thing when you go the next day. So I tell people, and for myself and personally, I try as much as possible to see, can I get a promotion at work? Right? Is there a way I can improve my value? Because I understand that if I contribute value to the organization, I can also get value from the organization. So can I improve my turnover rate, the rate at which I respond? And apart from that, what other ways can I also contribute to my company that I can give them value? And by giving them value, they can also give me value back, in maybe improving my pay or even giving me a percentage, which will in turn increase my revenue. Then the next thing I would also consider, and I want other people to consider, is also upscaling. You upskilling, you cannot. I don't think you can upskill yourself. There's always one aspect that you can look at, that you can improve on, that can give you revenue. So personally, on the side, I tell people that as an individual, I get retainer, right? I look at it from the biblical aspect. Even Solomon was getting retainer. So even if you're an individual and you get your salary, look at things you can do that could actually pay you retainer. That way you're improving your revenue. Okay, so I know they tell people that, okay, there are two ways you could either survive. Either you improve your revenue or you manage your expenses. Living in Nigeria, it is almost impossible for you to manage your expenses. I will be factually, it is almost impossible for you to manage your expenses. Of course, you could
manage. You mean like when you say manage, you mean like cut down, as opposed to like be aware of the expenses, right?
Yeah, like there's like, okay, of course, you must be aware of, before you can even say you want to cut down on your expenses, you must be aware of those things that you're spending on. And if you're not aware, I think this is the right time for you to actually start being aware of what you're spending on. And if you're able to track your expenses, then the next thing you want to do is that, okay, can I cut down on my spending? I know it might be almost impossible for you to cut down on your spending, but I tell people that there are still some blockers, there's still some outflow of cash, and that is you paying for subscription that you don't use. A lot of time people pay for gym subscription and they don't go to the gym. A lot of time they pay for Spotify subscription and they don't listen to Spotify. So look at those areas where you are losing your money and then you take advantage. And then lastly, I tell people that one major way you cannot just do without is having an emergency fund in this economy. You can't just do without having an emergency fund. It's something you must do. And how do you build your emergency fund? Just ask yourself, what is my monthly living expenses? How much do I spend every month? And also factor in your black tax too, because we are African descent. You must definitely pay your black tax. So when you factor that in, I tell people that emergency fund should be between the range of 3 to 6 months. Right? So let's say you spend 200,000 naira every month, you multiply it times 6. That means in a separate bank account, you should actually keep at least 1.2 million naira. And then I also tell you that don't just keep the 1.2 million naira lying down, just sitting, receiving cool breeze from the bank's air conditioner. Try as much as possible to diversify this emergency fund that you set aside. Of course, I'm not asking you to actually invest in the capital market. That will not make it an emergency fund again, because you can't pull it out when you need it. You can look at explore maybe. Since you're in Nigeria, you can actually explore maybe investing in a dollar saving account. You can explore investing in high yield interest saving account. You can also explore the mutual funds. So there are lots of mutual funds that you can actually explore. So that way you actually keep yourself. If anything should come up, okay, I think I have somewhere to land, and that is emergency.
Yeah, I love your use of revenue in the context of personal finance, because many of us, like when we hear that, it's always like, yeah, it's the businesses you're talking about. But you earn a salary, you're trading, or you have side hustles, you're a creator, you're selling digital products, and all those are revenue that's coming into you. And so, like you said, how can I increase my revenue as well? Like your skill sets, you're like getting a promotional work, having a commission-based type work where, again, the more you bring in, the more you make, type thing as well. And I really like that analogy as well. And just perhaps that philosophy of view of doing it, and then see where you can make more and see where you can actually cut, trim the fats as well. And those things are really they really add up quickly. Like that subscription that you did not use, or that thing you forgot to like cancel, like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and it piles up pretty quickly. So just again, but you wouldn't know if you don't actually just pause to see how things are going. I think it even gets more daunting or more clearer when you actually look at it over a long period of a span. So month on month, it might even look small, but when you now pause for the year and seeing how much has gone towards something, you can go, I need to make some adjustments here. And also, it's always very good to have a view on that. I guess again, just to before we'll open the floor to questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the raise hand feature again, or put it in the comments. But a question for you guys as well is just around maybe like tooling as well. So let's get a little bit more practical and hands-on. I know, of course, Times is an amazing tool. So please let us know what people can use Times for. But beyond Times, what kind of like tooling would you advise people to start exploring when it comes to, again, staying on top of their finances or building resilience in their finances, both on a business point of view and a personal point of view? I know you mentioned pen and paper, which will be the minimum viable tool that you should have. So between paper and Times, are there any other tools or technologies that could be leveraged for this? Yeah, we'll start with Ibrahim.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Kay. So it's a very tough question for me, because in my head I just want Times to be everything. If you have some of the
problems.
yeah, especially when it comes to your business accounting. So, but one thing is like the CFO suite is a very big ecosystem, and as I said, there are a lot of tools are available for you to do some things. Let's be very honest. Let's take, for example, we are starting from the case of when you're using pen and paper, and there's a very early stage where we say that, okay, we start using pen and paper to keep track of your thing. I think one of the two that I still always respect a lot is that people underestimate is still that keeping narration in your bank, and also separating your bank account from your other one. So when you have that in place and you feel like, okay, you have a well organized flow, of your business finances. There are a lot of tools across the. So if I want to analyze the tools, I'll pick them from the 5 angles, from the 5 accounting segments. That is for the assets. So when you have assets, buying laptops, I've seen a lot of businesses that are making a lot of misconception where you buy laptops or you buy assets in your company, and I look at the bookkeeping system you're using, you record it as an expenses. It's a very big foul, because these are not expenses, these are assets. So the first thing is to have a very good guidance. So now you need a tool that can teach you, because many people don't know something. And I'm sorry, we're already doing that at times, because we give you the pathway to know that, hey, guy, this record you want to make is not meant to be in this. It's not an expense, it's an asset, because this thing must depreciate. There must be a time you need to dispose it, and this is how it has to work. So one thing is, there also other tools that handle asset management. There are tools like these are partner radar, where they help you manage the acquisition of new assets, laptops and stuff. And in so doing, they also help you to keep a good register, not just helping you with this acquisition and stuff. And at the end of the day, this data can also be synced to an accounting system like Times, to sync it to your system. Also, there's also a need for spend management. So there are also tools out there, like for my guys, people I know in Nigeria, Flex Finance, Bugatti, a lot of guys that are building solution where they make it possible for you to have spend card for different members of your team, where you can easily collect the spend activities. You can set a budget, restrict them to internal control. Is very important when you are building resilience in your business and stuff like that. So with all these tools also in place, they also provide a good feed to bring data to the accounting system at the end of the day, without being worried. Even if you start by having a very solid spend management system for your business, where you manage all your expenses, is the biggest thing. Like, if you look at any business, expense is always if you look at your bank statement, expense is always the most voluminous. The inflow is always very small. So one thing is, you need to find a very solid tool to handle this part of your expenses. And the other part is the revenue side. When you're also looking, you might have to scatter everything in the early stage. Sometimes you manage costs, so maybe it's just a fee like this, a fee like this. But at the end of the day, when I want to come to my accounting system, I've already have a very good structure of keeping my book, because these guys follow standard. They give you solid category that communicate effectively with any accounting system in future. Don't use tools that when the time comes and you want to migrate your data to an accounting system for tax reconciliation stuff, you will not be stuck. But tools like this are already coming from finance professionals, finance mindset, asset management, expense management. Now, when it comes to revenue, we know about payment gateway. If you're collecting payment online, they already keep a good record of all of this data for you. And the interesting thing, they even tie them to customer data, like your customer contact is there, customer email is there. So you have your payment gateway in place. If you have the ability to use an e-commerce platform, yes, use an e-commerce platform and let your customer place order from the e-commerce platform. And when they pay you, go and update that the order has been completed, the shipping has been made, this is the shipping cost. Strategically, you're also keeping a solid record, because all of these data are very important. And the other part is equity. Sometimes equity might be the one that I really don't know too much of tools that are syncing with, that can have a good sync with your accounting system in future. But when you raise funding, when you are contributing cash into your business, you need to manage all of this equity data effectively. Then if some people at the very early stage already have all of these things scattered, it's not a problem for us. As times we build a way to effectively communicate with all of them and end up bringing it. Worst thing is not having a good structure, not taking advantage of tools. Any tool that is trying to help you keep your money, help you to organize your book. It doesn't have to just be a bookkeeping platform, no. But as I'm looking at this software that I'm using, tomorrow, can I be a finance guy? Okay, just put this. You have all the information that I need. I think it's very important. And another thing is ChatGPT is also ChatGPT. Any GPT platform are also not bad. They also make it easy for you to clean data. You can easily download your bank statement and upload it to GPT and tell it to give you a clear CSV or a clean stuff like that you can later process. So for me, for my end, when I'm recommending tools, I try to split it across the asset, liability, equity, revenue, and ensure that you have the solid system that are managing all of this thing for you. So when the time comes and you want to say, oh, I want to use an accounting software, or yes, an accountant is here for me to put this together or anything, you are not out of shape, right? You won't be like,
Makes sense. That's a very good philosophy to have. So whatever tooling you pick, make sure the tool is, of course, number one, enabling you to do what you need to do. But think about it from also a data point of view. Would I be stuck if I needed to, like, again, export my data from here? Would I be stuck if I need to like leverage what I have here to give me a full picture of my business? And again, like you said, Times is built in a way where you can actually just plug all of these different tools from Radar, which is another portfolio company of ours that helps with again asset management, to again your payment gateway for collection of payments, and also all of these things can really come into one place and give you all the analysis. And yeah, AI of course is your friend when it comes to again analyzing large pieces of data that will have taken a long time to sift through. Now we can make sense of it. You can actually just again make it cohesive, and you can even question that data as well to get insights as well. So that's really spot on. Yeah, how about you, Damilola? Before we round off, what's any tools from your side, or any or tips, or yeah, for folks?
Okay, so I'm going to take it from your spend, your revenue, and your investments. So I'll start with the investments. So for your investment, there are lots of tools you can actually do to carry out your investment. For your short-term goals, you can use the likes of Cowrywise, Ladder. While for your long-term goals, you can look at the likes of Bamboo. And thank God, Bamboo actually allows you to even invest in the global market and not just restricting you to the Nigerian market. So you can actually explore that if you want to go into investment. And it's kind of also help you. Most of this platform actually break it down so you know what you're saving for, what you're investing for. It's clearly stated. And for your spend, I tell people that for your spend, the easiest way for you to manage your spending and even track your spending is to actually have a dedicated account for your spending. So you can use any of the microfinance banks that we have. So in case you want to ensure that, okay, you can just get their card and just ensure that, okay, for every spending you do, you use that card. And then the narrative, when you're entering the narrative, if you're using your app, you can always ensure that you enter the narrative properly. While for your revenue or for your income, I tell people that have a dedicated account. Don't allow your money to be scattered all around. Have a particular, have a collecting cup, right, where you collect all your funds, right? So all the money funds will just come into that particular account, and from there you spread it. That's your investment or to your spend. And with regards to the tools that you can use to manage, another tool that a lot of people tend to underrate is your spreadsheets, right? Between out of every 5 people you meet, at least 3 people actually know how to use Excel. So I tell people that it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be sophisticated. You don't necessarily have to build a dashboard by showing your incomes and your expenses. But basic, just make sure that at least you know this is the total money that came in at the beginning or at the end of the period, and this is the total money that went out. And then these are my investments. Just ensure you track it using a spreadsheet, and then you can also ensure that you ensure that you update it with the various investing platforms that you use, and that's it.
Yeah, awesome. I wish we had more time to take more questions, but it's yeah, we're almost out of time. I guess maybe I'll just like leave we give like in 1 minute or less. People, the year is coming to an end. People are thinking about their finances for 2025 as businesses, even as individuals on this calls, as angel investors, part of the whole community as well. You can just leave us with one perhaps advice or recommendation or tip, like I said, as we thinking about again reflecting on 2024 and planning for 2025. What would be one advice you give people as regards again having resilience in their finance? Yeah, we'll start from you, Dami, and then we'll end up with Ibrahim.
Okay. So with regards to my one tip, I think what I would recommend is that you should not the place of financial planning cannot be overemphasized. There's need for you to actually plan your finance. And financial planning is not just managing your finance, it's actually giving yourself options, right? And helping you to build those walls and cushion against the inflationary environment that we live in currently. So ensure that you plan your finances so as for you to have a lot of options to fall back on, so that when incidents happen, which they would happen, we can't actually pray it away or even say, oh, it won't happen, right? So when they happen, you know you are well prepared for it. So do not don't take away financial planning from what you do.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So it's not overly emphasized, and it's not just doing this boring thing for doing sake. It's about again giving yourself options, knowing if this then that, and having that clarity to navigate things. And I think again, perhaps I'll just say again, because one thing we do speak about is community here. Like you perhaps want to be very, I mean, of course, to the degree at which you are comfortable with, but it might be better to almost just go on this journey with other people as well. And founders talking to other founders, individuals talking to other individuals, friends and all. And if you're married, your partner, of course, and just trying to again go at this with other people might make it less daunting as well. So, but yeah, thanks so much for that, Dami. How about you, Ibrahim?
Yeah, I think we are both on the same page. And one thing I'll just leave here is like this is not tough. If you jump on times today and you go to the budgeting module, because November, December is the budgeting season. So as a business owner, from my end perspective, I'm very curious about how much cash do we have left this year, and how long can this cash sustain us. And it does not have to just be assumption. I have to distribute budget across all of the departments I have. Everybody should fill in the budget, the expense that they are projecting from each department by next year, which is possible on times. And at the end of the day, I have a very big picture of these are the budget across every account. And at the end of the day, I'm also able to see our future financial statement. I'm able to see our future income statement. What is our future net profit going to look like if sales is projecting this revenue? So if I have this before me as of December, as of November, and I know what's the cash I'm ending for this year, and I know how much cash I will likely be ending with next year if I bring in the assumption of revenue in, assumption of expenses. So financial planning is very important. It's not just for planning purpose, but just for the way I'm saying it. Like from my own perspective, I'm really curious that what will next year look like? What are the worst scenario? So nobody will just come and say that, oh, we have a marketing budget of so for you, guy. From the future, I'm saying we will survive if we go with this. Yeah. So that's one thing I feel like every business or founder should put a very high priority on November, December.
Exactly. So spend the next month or two putting together a picture, because it just helps again with decision making. Like, so when somebody comes and say, oh, we need to spend much on this on marketing, you can for fact say no or yes, because again of what you've seen, the performance of your business has been to date and what you're forecasting for the future as well. Again, I hope this has been valuable for folks around again the topic of building resilience into your business and personal finance. And thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you, Damilola, for taking the time out. If you want to learn more about their work, do check out times.io and check out Money Africa as well. From Money Africa, just do a quick search. It's a very popular brand in the market. So thanks, guys. Have a good evening. I'll pass it on to Folake to just run us through some final updates before we close out for the evening. Cheers.
Okay. Thank you, Newbie. Thank you to Ibrahim and Dami once again for joining us today. Just before we close, a quick rundown of what's currently going on at HoaQ. For community members, we currently have a deal that is live now, and this will be the last deal for the year. This deal will be closing tomorrow, actually. The deal is already fully subscribed, to be honest, but we got a small allocation for HoaQ members to be able to invest. So if you've not checked it out, go to platform and check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me those questions. HoaQ Fund. So we have a $5 million fund that we are using to invest in founders who are building tech and tech-enabled startups for Africa and its diaspora. If you're interested in being an LP or submitting your pitch to us, just go to our website. You'll find all the details there. We also have HoaQ Talent. HoaQ Talent is mainly for talents, people that are hiring or people that are looking to make career moves. So if you fit into any of these categories, just go as well to the link and follow the steps. Really. So for our community members, we have discount perks, and new offerings for you. For those who don't know, it's currently pinned on general Slack channel. If you want to see anything else, just let me know. If you want to shop, our merch, we have cool shirts, we have cool bags as well. Just, use the link as well. That's where else.
You can also gift some. You can also gift some for the holiday season as well. So they make for good gifts as well.
Yeah, and it will be shipped to you wherever you are, really. Aha, we launched Diaspora House. Is a real estate investment community to divest in real estate assets across Africa and its diaspora prime cities. The first property that we are purchasing is almost a first close, and we've started talking about the second property, and this has been done just within 3 to 4 months. So if you're interested, join the WhatsApp community. You can just ask anyone on the team for the link and you'll be added to the community. Borderless, we launched Borderless. Borderless is an infrastructure for global communities. It is co-founded by Joe Kimby of Oak and Yao. In the simplest term, Borderless allows you, your family, and friends to invest together wherever you are in the world. So if you want to join the waitlist, just go to onborderless.com. As a community manager or as somebody who wants to use Borderless, you can just join our wait list. And that is all for today. We are having our annual general meeting where we'll be sharing everything that's happened this year, the highs, the lows, what we're expecting for next year, and just what has been going on in the investment space really this entire year. So if we've shared the link, go on our socials, go on our website, you'll find the link to the AGM happening on the 18th of December. So thank you, everyone. If you have any questions or anything, follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Thank you, everyone.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Folake. And yeah, we've got just a few minutes left to round up. But if you have any questions, we can